Okay, I preface this by saying I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but nor am I someone who thinks it's normal that we should allow what happened 2 weeks ago to pass without consequences. For the past 2 weeks, I've done enough research to determine that I believe Mr. Najarian's selection as mayor, while obviously unethical in the way it was done, was very likely illegal. Because of that, I'm going to ask permission from the California Attorney General to mount a quo warranto lawsuit as a private person. You probably know that I met with Mr. Garcia about what transpired on April 15th, and he defended your actions as fair, transparent, and legal, none of which they were. In fact, for Mr. Garcia, there may be some ethical questions about his office since they drafted the non-policy policy, which they appear to have slipped in at the last moment, which is at the heart of this controversy. I read Mr. Najarian's full case report and the judge's ruling, and I realized that that was your justification for installing Mr. Najarian. But it's not actually as open-ended as you think. The judge's ruling did not address subsection C, which prohibits a council member from being selected as mayor in their last term in office, which applies to Mr. Najarian this year, but didn't apply to him when he mounted his lawsuit. So I repeat, because this is very important, the judge's ruling did not take into account subsection C. As far as subsection H, the best interest clause, which was used by the council twice now to bypass the city's ordinance on mayoral selection to choose anyone they want, no reasons given. Subsection H is also not as legally airtight as you think. The subsection says that you must choose a qualified council member. The use of that adjective, qualified, is critical because it appears to limit your choices and could legally be interpreted as meaning only council members who are not disqualified from being mayor can be selected. There are only 2 subsections that outline disqualifications, one of which is subsection C, which disqualifies Mr. Najarian. As you know, the law is all about language. One single word can make something legal versus illegal. Mr. Garcia suggested to me that qualified simply means that all council members were qualified to be mayor. This, of course, makes no sense, because that would have been accomplished by just saying council member. Again, the law is all about language. Also in subsection H is the phrase, notwithstanding these provisions. I believe that the city council wrongly used that phrase to nullify all the subsections that came before, rendering subsection C as irrelevant. But the phrase doesn't nullify anything, I've since learned. It means that subsection H subverts the previous subsections, but that doesn't mean that they cannot be used as consideration. And I would argue, and I believe that a judge might agree, that because the word qualified was added in subsection H, it forces the consideration of subsection C, which disqualifies Mr. Najarian. When I spoke to Mr. Garcia about my intention to pursue a quo warranto lawsuit, he told me that he doubted very much that a judge would second-guess the decision of a city council. I believe he's right about that. I believe that's why Mr. Najarian lost his lawsuit. But I also believe April 15th changed all that, because while a judge may not want to inspect or go against the decisions of a city council once, they may not be so positive when a city council has now established a pattern of abuse, which is what you did by pulling the stunt not once, but twice. You subverted and perverted the rule of law and the city's ordinance for personal reasons and violated the public trust for 2 years in a row. I don't believe that a judge will take this lightly. I also suspect, after rewatching the April 1st and 15th videos of the city council meetings, that the 4 of you likely violated the Brown Act's prohibition against serial meetings, but I'm going to look into a public records request for your texts and emails. I firmly believe that Mr. Najarian should resign, because even if I don't get permission to sue from the Attorney General, the rogue behavior of the city council warrants at least media investigation, because there's a lot more corruption here than I'm talking about. And it will open everything up. If, as Mr. Kosaki and others of you has said on April 15th, the mayor is merely a figurehead, occupying a different spot on the dais, why is this the hill you want to die on? I want to thank Mr. Garpetian for his decency and class and for always championing transparency for the public. Thank you.
Thank you for the layperson's evaluation of the law. Stay tuned for next week's chapter. Next, please.